with the being the image of God. What does it mean to be created in the image and likeness of God? And both today and this morning and this evening's talk will focus upon that. And yet again, looking back to, I'm very much again intrigued by the origins of the Legion. And on September 7th, as you know, 1921, a man, Francis Duff, still relatively young, who had read True Devotion to Mary by St. Louis de Montfort, and like many of us, John Paul the Great including, and myself inclusive, have difficulties with True Devotion to Mary when you read it the first time, kind of unguided, stuff like that. John Paul II had to read it 5 times before he said, okay, this is the truth, or something like Edith Stein after reading The Life of Teresa of Avila. And but one person who was completely caught and on fire with devotion to Mary, and wanted to share that. And who does he? Several people arranged to meet in a building on that night called Myra House. The group consisted of a priest, Father Michael Toher, Frank Duff, an employee at the Ministry of Finance, and 15 women. So there's always been women part of the Legion of Mary. Almost all who were office workers and store employees. And they wished to devote themselves to a distinctly spiritual apostolate, similar to the associates of the St. Vincent de Paul Society, of whom Frank Duff was a member. And he saw how this group of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul was providing for the physical needs of the poor. And he recognized that, we need sort of like another group for the spiritual needs that goes out, because we know that the spiritual works of mercy are greater than the corporal works of mercy, in that sense. They assembled around a table with the statue of Our Lady, the Virgin being present, in the same way that we see it's always at the Presidium meetings. And after the recitation of the Veni Sancte Spiritus and the Rosary, Duff spoke of the discovery he had just made in the Treatise of the True Devotion to Mary by St. Louis de Montfort, which he found offensive upon first reading. The doctrine of the universal mediation of Mary, however, had struck him, and he was convinced that this doctrine is the source of life. He was determined to draw apostolic consequences from it. With contagious ardor, he explained to those in attendance that night that a sincere devotion to Mary must be active. It compels us to work for Mary, to help her save souls for whom she had suffered so much. It was decided that they would go 2 by 2 to visit the United Hospital of Dublin to give spiritual encouragement to the patients, that they would return to Myra House the following week to report on the results and to be assigned new tasks. It took on the name the Legion of Mary as the group became more organized. In this way, they resembled a Roman legion. It avoided giving the group an Irish identity, since it was intent to go to every country in the world. Already he had that vision. You see that true charism of saying this should be spread everywhere, not just an Irish thing. The Legion has a central council, Concilium Legionis, national council called the Senatus, a canton council called a Curia, as you all know, and the Presidium, the local group. The Presidium is the strategic unit of the Legion, its center of apostolic influence. It is composed of legionaries of the parish, directed by a president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and a priest, spiritual director when possible.